I felt like I had a really juicy and important message to share that wasn't coming through at first. But the other night, late at night, I channeled this really, really important message that will probably be one of the most important things that you can take in truly at the deepest level of your soul and of your being at the start of this year to make this year the year that everything starts to fall into place for you. Welcome to the Rituals with Michaela podcast, a space for you to come as you are and tune into conversations that will support you on your path to becoming all that you're meant to be in this lifetime. I'm Michaela, a hypnotherapist and spiritual mentor. Daily rituals have been the most transformative tool in my healing and manifestation journey, and I want to share every piece of that wisdom with you. Think of this podcast as a weekly ritual for you to cultivate deeper awareness, inspiration, and connection to yourself. And most importantly, every episode will leave you with a simple ritual to integrate and embody everything you've learned. Whether you listen with your morning coffee, on your drive to work, or while you move your body, wherever you are, just take a deep breath, tune in, and turn this into your own special time just for you. This is the secret sauce. This is the key to becoming magnetic and to entering into the timeline of your life where you don't have to grip onto control anymore. You don't have to force things into place. You don't have to will things to get them to happen. And this has kind of been the path that I've been trying to find for such a long time, for these past few years. I could feel like my soul was craving this life of ease where I was able to, yes, work towards my goals, but that everything about it just felt right. And even if there were challenges that I faced, that I felt like I had a sense of deep knowing and connection to myself and clarity that it was the challenge that I was meant to be facing. Instead, I kind of found myself in this place of feeling really foggy, really overwhelmed. My nervous system was dysregulated. I felt like I was constantly in a rush, trying to prove myself to the world, trying to prove that I could be successful without even really being aware that I was trying to do that. I kind of dug under the surface and realized that so much of the pressure and the stress and the rush that I was feeling was coming from this place of disconnection to myself and not feeling like I was enough and feeling like I had something to prove. And that is literally the opposite of being magnetic and knowing who you are, knowing your value, and knowing that you can manifest miraculous opportunities and changes in your life. And yes, there is a time and place for action, but you don't have to work out all of the details and you don't have to force anything to happen. And it took me a little while to actually understand what living in that energy looked like, but I have recently kind of unlocked the door to this energy and I feel a huge difference. I feel this deep sense of stability and wholeness within myself. And when I talk about my dreams now and when I journal about them and visualize them, I can honestly and truly 100% say that I feel certainty. I feel inevitability where I once felt shakiness and fear and attachment. I feel inevitability, certainty, and I don't really truly feel like I need these things to happen to make me feel the way that I was so desperately wanting to feel before. And that's how I know, without a doubt, that all of these things are going to unfold for me this year in an even better way than I could have imagined. And I want that for you too. And so the most important thing that you can focus on in the year of 2024, if you want to become this magnetic version of yourself, is self-love. And to be honest, it kind of breaks my heart to notice how people respond and how I used to respond when self-love would be brought up. It just kind of felt like this concept that, okay, yeah, great, I need to love myself, but look at all these other things that I need to do, that I need to fix, that I need to change in my life. And I'm telling you, if you want to feel like you miraculously have found the solution to pretty much all of your problems, focus on self-love. So why is self-love important, and how do we actually start to feel genuine self-love? Because I feel like for a while I thought I loved myself, but I wasn't actually doing the work to really love all parts of myself. And I'll get into that in a second. But first, I just want to say that self-love is so important because when we're manifesting, we're often just focused on manifesting abundance, money, relationships, the cars, the success, the traveling, all of that really important stuff. But that stuff, all of those experiences literally mean nothing if you don't also have fulfillment and if you don't also feel deserving to enjoy what it is that you've attracted into your life. You could attract so much abundance and not ever feel that feeling that you were wanting to feel because you didn't do this work of self-love and laying this strong foundation to be able to build on top of. So that's what I literally want for all of us this year, is to create that stable foundation. So in order to do this effectively, you have to be willing to peel back all of the layers of who you are and who you were in your life and bring the abandoned parts of yourself back in so that you can create wholeness within. And what I mean by this is that throughout our lives, we often have experiences where we face judgment and shame, and we label parts of ourselves or things that we've done in our past, versions of ourselves that we've been, as dirty and wrong and shameful. And we basically exile these parts. We say, no, I can't be like that anymore because I need love. We are all seeking love. We are all seeking validation. We're all seeking to feel like we belong and that we're safe in this world. And so in order to survive, we abandon these parts that we learn aren't acceptable. And often that happens from judgment from other people or us simply analyzing, okay, these are the types of people that receive love in this world. So that's who I need to be. And then that leads us on this lifelong quest of, first of all, rejecting and abandoning every part of us that doesn't fit this mold that we believe that we have to fit into, and then trying to achieve all of these different things in order to feel that wholeness again, in order to receive love from other people, to get the validation, and to kind of like shove those parts away even deeper. It's like the more that we try to achieve and manifest from this place of emptiness and feeling like there's something wrong with us, the more we end up on this chase of believing that our happiness and our wholeness lies in the body, the money, the relationship, this and that, like I've said. We lie to ourselves by saying that we have to do more in order to feel that wholeness and in order to get that feeling that we love. And it's a lie that most of us tell ourselves every day, that achieving this next thing is going to give us that feeling. But what happens when we manifest from this place is that we end up attracting relationships and jobs and circumstances and experiences that teach us a lesson. The lesson to love ourselves again. The most common way that this showed up in my life was through relationships. For as long as I can remember, starting at like 12 years old, I became obsessed with finding someone to help me to feel that wholeness again, to help me to feel like I was worthy, like I was beautiful, like who I was acceptable. Because when I looked at myself in the mirror, I felt like everything that could be wrong with me was wrong with me. So I had so many relationships where I was cheated on, where my love was taken for granted, where I was manipulated and gaslit, and all of those relationships were pushing me to love myself and value myself more. And at the time, it was incredibly painful. But now I can really understand that all of these experiences where I thought that my happiness would lie in that external thing were teaching me to get to this place where I am at right now. Another example of this was my relationship with my body. And this kind of played into the feeling of like, okay, if I can get my body to look this way, then I can get this person to treat me right, because the only reason they cheated on me is because there's someone better than me out there. So if I can just be the best, if I can just be perfect, then I can get that love that I'm seeking. And so this journey led me to a 15-year battle with disordered eating and all of these struggles in relationships. And then in my adult years, it turned into success in my business. I have to make this successful. I have to reach this certain status to prove myself. And now what I really understand is the reason that none of those things worked out for me, the reason that those relationships initially didn't work out for me, and that getting to my dream body didn't bring me that sense of wholeness, or that getting to success in my business didn't make me feel fulfilled, was because the universe was kindly and lovingly redirecting me to build this stable foundation for myself. So as you start to peel back the layers of who you were, who you've been, these parts of yourself that you've rejected or abandoned along the way, it's going to feel painful. It's going to feel dark. It's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel like you'd rather do anything else but meet those parts of yourself, because it's likely that some of those experiences were really dark and were completely out of your control, and maybe even consisted of abuse and neglect and more trauma. And I highly, highly encourage you to do this with the support of somebody who can hold safe and compassionate and loving space for you, because doing this alone, it's really easy to get stuck in your own stories and to be really afraid of what lies within the shadows of your being. And when you start to peel back these layers and go into these past versions of you and things that you experienced, you're going to have some resistance to it and it's going to feel icky. But when you really go into it, you're going to be able to realize things that you could not see at the time. The truth is that often when things happen to us that are completely out of our control, the only way that we can grip onto any feeling of safety or control in the situation is by blaming ourselves for it. And our minds will so sneakily try to do this, because it's the only feeling of safety that we had at the time was to say, oh, well, if I just didn't do this one thing, then maybe this abuse wouldn't have happened. Or maybe that experience would have gone differently. Maybe I wouldn't have embarrassed myself or been bullied or received this type of treatment from this partner if I had just done these things differently. And that's a dialogue that you really want to catch and notice, because you have always been doing the very best that you could. And you are still doing the very best that you can. And you didn't know any better at the time. You didn't maybe have the safety or the tools or the understanding of the situation to be able to do things differently. Now you do, but that doesn't mean that anything that you've experienced was your fault. Even the times when you feel like you were the villain or you did something wrong, it's so important to understand that every single person, even if it doesn't quite make sense, or even if it's not in the highest good of all, we're just simply trying to survive. We're all seeking love. We're all seeking to feel like we are safe and that we are fulfilled in life. And we all have a motivation for the things that we do. And it's so important to be able to validate yourself in these past experiences and remove that shame and remove that judgment. I know for me personally, I've been recently diving into a lot of experiences that I went through in high school where I blamed myself so heavily for so much of what went on. And now I can really see that, like, even at that age of 15 or 16, I literally was just doing my best, and I was trying to meet the needs of validation and fulfillment and feeling connected that I had within me in the best way that I knew how. And I can even go back even like earlier on into my childhood and notice times where I developed so much shame about who I was because who I was wasn't accepted by, groups of girls, or I wasn't invited to the birthday party, or this or that happened. And so I started overanalyzing all of these parts of who I was, my weirdness, my quirkiness, the things that I thought were funny, the things that I was interested in. And I tried to mold myself into this other person. So through this work, I've really been uncovering who Michaela is, the experiences that I've had, and I've started to pull these parts of me back in and look at them, shine the light on my shadow, shine the light on the most shameful and embarrassing and painful versions of me, and embrace them and accept them and tell myself on a daily basis, you did not do anything wrong. You are doing the best that you could at the time, and I understand you, and I accept you, and I love you. I love you for who you are. And this work it's going to feel weird at first. It might even feel stupid to you. Like, why am I talking to myself? Why do I even have to go back to these past versions of me? Why can't I just move forward? But this work, when repeated and when you stay consistent with it, and when there's a deeper part of you that just knows this is what I'm meant to be doing, and you stay with it, has the power to change everything for you. And trust me when I tell you that it's going to feel really hard at first, because your mind is attracting more thoughts based on what you already believe to be true. So the law of attraction is just bringing you more and more reasons to not up level, to not shift your vibration, to not get to this place of self-love. So that's going to look like, this is stupid. This isn't working. Why am I focused on this? I should be trying to change all of these things in my life. I should be more focused on making money. I should be more focused on getting the partner. I should be more focused on whatever it is that you have trained your mind to believe that you need to be in order to get that love, success, fulfillment, all of it. And you have to be able to catch yourself in the lies that your mind is spinning in around that, because it's an old story. It's the story that you created when you were young and you were confused as to why you weren't receiving the unconditional love that you were needing. You were confused as to why you were receiving judgment, or you got in trouble just for being yourself. And you're trying to figure out how you can control that situation so that you can make sure that you get that love. But if you can take a look at that and realize the last sentence I said, so that you can make sure that you can get that love. The only way to be sure that you will always get that love, that you will always get what you need, is to be able to give it to yourself. You are no longer this lost child who is struggling, who is dependent on your guardians to be able to give you that love and structure and support and stability. You are no longer that confused teenager who is seeking somebody to love you because you feel so empty. You have the ability to look within yourself right now as the loving adult that you are and say, I know what I must do. I know that this is the path for me. I know that this is where my soul is leading me. And it might feel challenging at first, but I know that this is the work that I want to commit to. Because somewhere deep inside of you, you know that it makes sense to imagine your being as this whole, fulfilled, all-loving being when you come into this world. And then to imagine that part of it getting ripped away through judgment and shame and self-abandonment, and trying to fill that hole your whole life with all of those things that you're chasing. Maybe it's the perfectionism, and maybe you've tried to fill it with other things like drugs and alcohol and food and sex and all of those like momentary hits of dopamine that kind of give you that feeling that you were looking for. That's why this work is not just transformational in your ability to be able to manifest, but also in your ability to be able to let go of the habits and addictions that are no longer serving you. For people who struggle with addictions to sex and alcohol and porn and things like that, like this is what you are seeking. You are seeking love. You are seeking connection. You are seeking the ability to find pleasure in your daily life. And so that's why I say it's the most important thing that you can focus on this year, because I feel like most of us were like, I want to overcome these bad habits and I want to reach all of these goals. And so I need to force myself to make these things happen. I need to use willpower to just be stronger and stop with the binge eating and stop with the smoking and stop with the drinking. And I need to use that willpower to also build all these things that I want to build. But we only have this finite amount of willpower within us, and that doesn't work. That's why people set these resolutions in January and they burn themselves out completely, using all of the willpower and strength that they have to try to be who they think they need to be to avoid that shame. But I'm telling you, the answer is not to try to avoid it by getting all of those things done. The answer is to go inward. Look at the shame, shine a light on it, have someone with you who can shine a light on it with you and hold that. And feel what you didn't have the strength or the tools to feel at the time. Tell yourself, remind yourself of this loving perspective, this non-judgmental approach to looking at the situation differently, and hold yourself and say, I see you, I see what you've been through, and it wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything to deserve that. And I know you think you messed up, but you were doing the very best that you could at the time. And I see that, and I value you, and I love you, and I'm here with you to give you what you need now. Those are some of the most powerful words that you can say to yourself. And I'm sure you can hear from like the passion that's been in my voice while delivering this message. Like, I have never believed in something so fully in my life, because what I am experiencing right now, like I said in the beginning, is this whole new level of peace. I'm in my peaceful, magnetic era, and I want you to come with me. Like, I want to bring everyone I know with me, because we can all access this. Love is the most powerful medicine that you have within you. It can heal you from illness. It can change the way that you look and feel. I mean, this is what I've been talking about with all the body transformation stuff. That is actually one of the paths that led me to this place of knowingness inside of me. I don't need to fix my body. I don't need to get to that success. I don't need to do all of these things. This is what I need to do first. And from there, when you tap into that love within you, and when you start to create just a little bit more safety, just a little bit more wholeness, you're going to start to see things totally differently. It's going to be like you took a pill that gave you all this clarity in your life that you didn't even have before. So if you've been wanting clarity, this is where it lies, in this work right here. And yeah, I just feel like, holy shit, this is my life's work. This is what I'm here to teach. This is the message that I want to spread, is that it all lies in your ability to love, in your ability to access this place of non-judgment, curiosity about why you did what you did, why you learned those lessons that you had to learn at the time, and how you can take all of those pieces, bring them in, and say that they are safe within you. It's just so fucking cool that we have the power to do that. That nothing that you've ever done, no one that you've ever been, has the power to keep that shame going within you when you shine a light on it and you say, no, I love you and I accept you. And you are welcome here. How fucking cool is that? That we get the opportunity to do this, and that all of that power exists within you right now in this moment. So right now, you're listening to this podcast, you've listened all the way through for a reason. There's something within you that's like, okay, yes, I need to commit to this. This is what I'm ready for. So in this moment, I invite you to commit to loving yourself 1% more every single day. And whatever that looks like for you, trust it. I'm currently working on making a lot of rituals that help with this work and putting them into this course that I've been building for almost a year now. But you have the power to do this on your own right now. Yes, there are tools that are available to you that you can find, and I would be honored to be one of the people that's able to support you in this journey, but you are empowered in this right now to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, even if you don't feel it, and look at yourself in the eye and say, I love you. I accept you fully. Show me what it is that I am ready to bring to the surface. Show me what it is that I'm ready to bring to light, to love and accept myself on a deeper level. Have patience with yourself. Wrap yourself up in a hug and actually touch your physical body and communicate to the deepest level of yourself. I am ready to experience wholeness. I am ready to experience self-love. Seriously, what do you have to lose by just committing to loving yourself just a little bit more, just committing to speaking to yourself and wanting to cultivate a relationship with yourself? Even if you start with just self-acceptance, even if you just start with curiosity of wanting to get to know yourself better, that is the 1%. You're probably wondering, okay, how does this actually help me to create the life of my dreams? You've probably heard a lot of people talking about you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you are whole and you feel loved and you feel safe within yourself and you feel secure within yourself, you are going to start attracting more security. You're going to start attracting more unconditional, abundant love. You're going to be able to trust yourself more, because when you start to bring these parts back into wholeness, they're no longer screaming at you for your attention. They're no longer saying, oh, we have to do this, 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 and this so that we can get to where we want to be. they start to quiet down. They start to trust you more. They start to let you lead the way so that you can actually hear when the deepest part of you is saying, let's take this action today. Let's go to this place. And maybe at that place, you meet someone that gives you this amazing opportunity. And you start to actually be able to trust that even if you don't know exactly how those big, crazy dreams of yours are going to come to life, that they just are. And it's done. Because you trust yourself and because you have this relationship with you, everything is going to get so much easier. Your dreams are going to manifest. And not only are they going to manifest, but you're actually going to be able to enjoy them when they do. Love is the most powerful medicine that you have, and you have access to it right now. So that is my message for this new year. I hope that it leaves you feeling empowered, inspired, and remember, if there's any voice inside of you that's saying, okay, we have to love ourselves really fast and make all this happen to get to what we want, bring yourself back into your body, give yourself a little rub, take a breath and say, there is no rush. We're going to do this. And I love you. And I love the part of me that feels rushed because I understand that you at some point learned that you were falling behind and that you were running out of time. But I'm going to give you what you need. I'm going to give you that love. I'm going to give you that validation. And I'm going to wait until I can get to this place of calmness within myself so that I can truly know what action that I'm meant to take. So a huge part of this work is patience, observation of your mind, curiosity, giving yourself what you need in each moment instead of trying to make things happen to avoid feeling those hard feelings. And you are fully capable of doing this. So if you have any questions on this topic, I am an open book. I want to share as much as I possibly can. I truly feel like this is a huge part of why I'm here on earth, is to spread this message about love. And so you can DM me on Instagram. You can comment in the question box on Spotify. And I can't wait to share more on this topic with you in this upcoming year, because this is the year that everything is going to change for us. And it's going to change on the deepest possible level in the most beautiful way. I love you so much. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.